Hi everybody. I want to do a quick vlog about the link between Prince Harry's appearance in court and the stabbings over in France this week. I won't go over what happened, the details. I think that it's been echoed around the world, the horror of this man going around stabbing young children is absolutely horrific, and something has to be done about what's going on. It's been mostly ignored, and it's certainly ignored in high places. I know the newspapers aren't talking about it. One of the only newspapers that are talking about it is the Daily Mail. As regards Prince Harry in court, something I know a lot about because I work for the Mail and the Sunday Mirror, and other various tabloids, as well as the Sunday Times. But I can talk about it that the same people as are organising this kind of thing, the same politicians, the same people in power want the shutting down of the press. This is their end game, that we don't read about what's going on in other places. It sounds at the moment like it's all about celebrities or all about Prince Harry, and the public have lost sympathy, they've lost interest in celebrities, in Harry. I personally like him, but I think he's a very honest and open young man, but I think he's being used right now as a battering ram in this fight, and I think he doesn't realise that he's on the wrong side, actually. So this cabal, they appear as a left-wing, rabid left-wing, so people imagine, oh, they're opposite the right, therefore they're good, and they do have this fake goody two-shoes nonsense that they portray. They wheel out their victims, and it's ridiculous. I know that somebody's told me that Sienna Miller is appearing in the BBC, the programme that I appeared on, about private investigators and the press, and apparently she's about to be wheeled out as a victim. Now, I don't particularly like this white privilege nonsense, but if anyone's supposed to go for white privilege, it would be her. This happened 20 years ago. She got a huge payout over it, yet she's still moaning about it. I'm personally aggrieved at it because I was accused of being the person that rang up her GP, which would be something only someone of a low intelligence would do. Calls are recorded at such places. The police should have been informed, but they weren't, which is strange. I recently heard of an editor at the Sun. Oh, it was a shame that you got blamed for that. Everybody knows it was Susie from TDI. So apparently somebody did attempt to do that. Well, why didn't she call the police at that point? Now that person would be arrested and they would be serving 10 years. So this is what these people do. They say, oh, we want everything equal, but it's not actually equal. So it's a fake socialism. They don't want everything equal. They just want the general populace to be crushed and quietened, and as well as crushed and quietened, they want an unfair society. It was certainly unfair, my name being bandied about in court as someone who did something, then reported in the media when I had been arrested for it. There was no chance in court to fight for myself. I was just smeared with that, and actually makes my blood boil. I wouldn't mind if I'd have done it. You'd think, well, you've done that, whatever, this is karma. But I'm not stupid enough to have done that. Clearly, Susie from TDI is. She even sounds stupid. So this is somebody else. But they don't care. In their minds, it's another working class person. You're a working class person. You take the blame. You're guilty. All working classes are guilty. You all steal apples. You're all desperate. So shut up and go over there. And this is what these people are like. This is why they don't care about people coming from war-torn countries and being totally under trauma from what the Americans and what our own country's been doing out there in Syria. No business to be out there in the first place. And they've inflicted traumatized refugees on the rest of us. It's rather like letting out of prison. And it's only the people in the poorer areas that are suffering the feedback. The well-to-do in the UK all live in the Surrey belt, and these areas, they're not touched. What they don't realise is people are building up money. People are, drugs, human trafficking. They will soon be out in those areas, so they don't have to wait long. I don't know where they imagine they're going to go when the whole place is just absolutely destroyed, when civilization is destroyed. But what they will do, they will bring in more and more laws to lock us down, and more security, more and more Big Brother, and we will eventually have no freedom. And they will make us cooperate and contribute and cheer on us being locked into a prison for your own good, to protect you from this, to protect you from your babies being stabbed when you go to the park. You need to be locked down. You need this security in place. You need all these cameras. And we will become more and more repressed. And this is the end game. And this nonsense with the press that's being fought out in the court, with Harry playing his part, didn't really know what's going on. Now, why didn't they inform him what was going on? Why didn't they inform him about this John Boyle character? It's because the left hand and the right hand are actually working in tandem with each other. The left hand that we're the good guys, we're sweeping this out. They don't want anyone to look in the direction of who brought phone hacking in, because then it would be traced back to, well, hang on, he was working for the security services. So isn't that you guys? And so Harry has been pushed up there, used as a battering ram against the press, and he's going off half-cocked because he doesn't know the story. He's just saying to them, oh, you were phone hacking. So he sounds like he's foolish, but they were phone hacking. Tina Weaver loved it. She loved the whole thing of it. So they were, but he just sounds silly when he's saying it because they're not informing him of everything that went on. They're using Sienna Miller. She's going to sound ridiculous on the BBC. Apparently she's crying. Now there's people out in the real world. They've had their children murdered in a park in France. They're suffering homelessness, rent's gone up, food is expensive, and on comes a very, very, very white privilege. There is actually some white privilege out there. She's going to come on and start crying. I was in the paper because I had a new boyfriend, and I didn't even know about that, and then cry. And what is going to happen? The public are just going to absolutely hate her. They're going to absolutely, hang on, I'm sitting here, I can't feed my child, and you were like papped, and you've got a payout, and you're still, oh God, it was so terrible, it was such a trauma. And people aren't going to like it. They're not going to dig it. And I said that to this BBC fool, the one that abused me so hard. He pushed me into a weird breakdown, something I've never had before. I haven't connected with my anger over that yet, but I will. But he pushed me into that, and he just went banging on about Sienna Miller's trauma. I can say, hand on my heart, looking at that woman, I don't think she's known one day of real suffering in her entire life, which is why she can go on TV and expect the public, when we're going through what we're going through, to stomach that it's traumatic to be in the paper when you've got a new lover. Yeah, it really blew me away. I was wiped out. That is suffering right there. And I don't think the public are going to react to it the way they hope But they're using these people. They're using Sienna Miller. She doesn't know any better. They're using Harry. They're feeding them lies because Sienna Miller should have been told about the fact that I was told that she had had this termination, and they were spying on her. They're obviously hacking her. Now, why do a story about somebody having an abortion? It's not a story. So I believe they were trying to get that information for blackmail purposes. So they're all up to all manner of stuff, and they don't want that out there. The BBC didn't know it because they're all on the same side. There's the so-called good guys and the so-called bad guys. They're the same, yeah? They're absolutely the same. And what they want to do is shut down the media and have us not hear anything, okay? So if there's a stabbing over in France, we don't hear about that, and they decide it's for their own good. We don't tell the people over in the UK because, well, it might start something off, and so let's not tell them. And that's the way it's heading with the press. And yes, there's the alternative media on YouTube, but did you notice how many channels crashed recently? Certainly a lot of news channels, and they'll just crash them if they start talking about it. And this is the way we're headed. We're headed to a 1984, George Orwell's 1984 situation where we will be battened down. We will be locked in our homes. They'll say there's a new virus. They'll say, oh, there's a threat. We need to check this person out. So we need to have cameras everywhere. And actually, it won't be about that. It will be about us. It will be about the general populace. It will be about locking us down. And this battering at the freedoms of the press, that is to make sure the press won't tell us anything near the truth. So why it seems like, oh, what a good thing, let's have new rules brought in for the press because poor Harry, he's so cute looking and we don't want him upset, and he looks sweet and stuttery and in the box, and he did look like that, and you immediately think, oh, I don't want him to suffer. It's like Diana, and he is like Diana. So it pulls on our heartstrings, and we think, oh, it's the good guys going after him. But Graham Johnson is very much not a good guy. He is not a good guy. He is very much like the bishop in that series, and it was on BBC, and now it's on ITV, the part you have to play for, and I think it's called Lambs. Is it Lambs to the Slaughter or something? Lambs. And these women are in a forest, and they kind of capture a priest, and there's a bishop involved, and the bishop goes around doing this and doing that, and he really reminds me of Graham Johnson, looks like Graham Johnson, and is well paid by the cabal, and is very dark. He's involved, and Sherborne is dark as well. These people aren't right to fight for, to make a better press. I hope nobody's falling for this. It's a farce, and it's to bring in new laws. I hope nobody's going to fall for it because it's linked with this stabbing attack over in France. They want us in a bad situation. They want us, they've harvested our energy for a long time. They really want us to feel more pain. And, food will end up being a luxury. It's only going to increase. The squeezing and the pressure is only going to increase. Life these days is about pressure. I know there's people who are moneyed up and they're making money out of this, but eventually it will get round to them too. They are ignorantly sitting and thinking, well, I'm okay. I live in a mansion. I own loads of houses. I'm renting them out. I'm making money out of that. I don't have to feel the squeeze. I'll put up my tenant's rent and I'll just sit pretty. Well, you're not going to be sitting pretty for long because there's going to be lots of traumatized people coming to your area, and then you'll be affected by what's going on, and then maybe at this point you will care about it, because a lot of these people are at the moment part of the problem. They are seeing themselves, because they know they're fat cats and greedy, they're being part of the problem. They're like, oh, I'm left wing, I'm socialist, yes, I don't agree, let's get rid of this newspaper and that newspaper, and let's batten them down. The only people that need to be battened down in the media is the BBC and the Guardian. They are just full of crud. Yet instead of that, they're working together to attack the rest of the press. And what is wrong with the press? Now, I've worked amongst them for many, many years. What is wrong with the press is the same that's wrong with social services. I'm working on dealing with my historic grooming when I was in care. I didn't even know I was groomed. I thought I was having a relationship with a social worker. So it's been hard for me to face. Because I think I had feelings. Well, obviously I did have feelings for him, but his grooming of me has had a massive effect on my sexuality, and crushed it, really. And I thought it was all to do with my father's sexual abuse, but no, I think actually this man, this DS I was speaking to, I think it's a social worker that had just this massive effect on me, and I haven't really faced up to it, which is great. I feel I've done nothing but face up to, and when am I going to get to actually live? But I suppose this is living, this kind of evolving and unfolding into the reality of this place is not a good place. And the only thing we can do is try and get supernatural help. Now, supernatural help does exist. I've been in, I wrote about it in my book, The Serial Killer Psychic. It was my descent into homelessness and poverty. And I had nothing but to call out for God. And I called out for God via the Psalms. Somebody gave me a list of what Psalms to call, what things to say in between. And I called out, and God did answer me. Recently, I had such a huge problem with my car, and I was just going to have to park it by the side of the street and walk away from it. And I was beside myself. And an angel that I'd been working with, Shemyaza, Brian Barrett, gave me the sigils, told me how to do it. And I've been working with him, and he actually came into my dream and said, I will sort it out, let me take care of it. And the next morning I woke up and took these various steps, and now the matter was resolved, and resolved in a way that I could never have imagined. There is supernatural help out there, but you've got to ask for it. It won't come and knock on your door. You've got to start getting into that. You've got to communicate with the spirit or the angel or Yahweh or Allah or whoever. You can't just sit there and think, oh, it's going to appear at the end of my bed. It won't. It will if you encourage it, but you've got to get stuck in with the encouraging. And that's all we can do at this point, because we, otherwise we just sit there and sit in the victim mode. You know, you can also, if people are targeting you, do energy reversals. You don't have to sit there and just let people walk all over you. An energy reversal is where if they target you, if they lie about you, it pings straight back on them. So you can do that. That is a good defense. But it's going to get darker and darker here because it's what is going to happen, because it's been prophesied in Revelations that there's going to be an end times. So this is the end of planet Earth as we know it. It's going to erode into an end because there's a fungus that's taken it over. And this fungus, when God birthed himself, when God decided to extend himself, when God decided to experience himself, this other thing popped up, this darkness, this fungus, like a kind of hole. So the opposite was created then. It wasn't about angels falling. And what happened, some part of God, the lower part, which was angelic, got attacked by this virus or went into this virus and got infected by it, this kind of black fungus. And so the angels, some of them fell into this third dimension, and they did something with the mammals that had been existing. We were monkey men, and they changed us into what we are now. We're part angel, part monkey, and we're very evil, and we are infected by that same virus like a fungus, and that fungus is eating into the earth. And there are various ET races coming to find out what's going on right now, because they want to study the fungus. They want to study how the fungus operates, how it eats into a galaxy. And that is why there's all this UFO, ET communication going on, because we're in this grip. And eventually, and not long now, the fungus will totally eat into Earth, and it will implode on itself. And then that fungus will go on and find another galaxy, another system to destroy. And until God recedes himself into himself and then becomes as nothing. So that is why once there is really good extending, then there will be bad, because this is a dual universe that we're stuck in. So I, for one, am glad that it's going to be eaten, because it is somewhere where many, many people are infected by this virus, by this fungus, and they make the rest of us suffer. They make the ones that aren't infected suffer. Even kids in a playground, if there's a kid that isn't infected by the virus, it will target it. This is what happens. This is a very, very dark place. And the darkness wants to get more of a grip on it. So getting more of a grip on it, it needs to do what it's doing. It needs misery. It needs that attack on innocent little children. We all know that children have a lot of God in them, and that is the only connection we've got right now. That and beautiful art and beautiful music to God. God's such a long way off, and we're totally trapped in by this fungus. And so they're beautiful. And the idea that the fungus, by possessing that Syrian, that traumatized man, to attack, that we know we're in trouble. This is a world in trouble. It's deeply, deeply in trouble. And it's just going to get worse. And the only antidote is, because this is supernatural, that fungus is supernatural. It goes in the minds of people. It makes them think different things that are negative. It makes them think that that traumatized man was a good idea to go and kill children. It's powerful. It's very dark. Gets in the minds of these serial killers, these school shooters. I believe it's wielded by a lot of the cabal that control Earth, because it's a power, and they haven't got God in them, and they think to themselves, well, this kind of, it's powerful, I'll join with it. And so they are children of it, children of this virus, and they want to hurt the rest of us. They want to destroy us. They want us to feel pain. The fungus eats into the light. It eats the light. So if we've got light in us, it will eat into us. And when we are in misery, the light suffering, it will eat that as well. It is a totally negative, highly intelligent, highly powerful force. It is nearly as strong as God. It is not a force to be trifled with. And this is what's going on at the moment. And what we can do individually is connect up, because God did send a ray out of him, which was Christ. We can connect to Christ. We can connect to anything we feel we would like to connect to. I mean, no judgment on whoever wants to. But there's no point in connecting with beings that are of the virus. I mean, there's no point. Some people do. No judgment. I don't. I connect with the jinn. I don't believe the jinn are all bad. I believe we all have a jinn. It's what we know as a guardian angel. I don't believe it's a bad thing to communicate with the jinn. I involve myself with mine. I think it's a normal thing. When I was communicating with Shem Yaza, the courtesy of Brian Barrett, the magician, Brian Barrett taught me. Shem Yaza said to my jinn, you have to worship me for 10,000 moons. So they interact with each other, and then you get the spiritual protection, guidance, and you can be someone for the light. You can do God's work here. You can ask Spirit, what do you want me to do to make things better for people? I believe now that God, via the Christ energy, wants to raise up the people that want to go back with him, and those that don't will just get left behind, because the energy that's God has to clear itself out of that virus. So it's not like asking people to be pure. It just wants to know that you're clear of the virus before you can raise higher. And so it's best to clear yourself of greed, of sin, of lying, of falsity, so you can get back to God, because that is where we need to go, or you'll just get sucked in by this virus. It's a very real thing. It's very real. It's like black mold. You know, black mold in a house is really, really bad for you. It's the same as a black mold, except it's highly intelligent. You can imagine a black mold that can think. You know, this AI is part of it, that doesn't like anything to do with God. So it wants to destroy the mechanisms of God, because it is an opposing force to God. It's naturally opposing. So you can reason with it. It's just naturally an opposing chemical force to it. So you can't speak to it. But it is lonely, I've noticed. It's lonely, and that's why it eats up all our misery. It's a hole. It's a black hole. So it doesn't have the love force, and the love force is something, you know, something keeps us full. So it's empty. It's emptiness. And it's a horror story. Once it starts eating in on God's people with our flesh and our bones, we're very vulnerable here. You know, we need to have shelter, we need to have food. It's easy to make us suffer. In a way, we're all children. In a way, we're all those children in that park getting stabbed and attacked. We are them. We are them. We are very vulnerable, stuck in these fleshy bodies that were meant just for God to experience himself, to be like animals. We weren't meant to have this knowledge. We weren't meant to build cities. We were meant to live in the bush. We were meant to be animals. We were given this knowledge. It's wrong for us. It's not right. And it was from a being that was infected with the virus. It was the virus's idea to give us the virus via intelligence, via this knowing, and now we've got all this AI, all these things. We are Antichrist. We are an Antichrist people. We don't pray at all. We don't love God, whereas we were built to pay homage to him all the time. We were built to run around the forest and just, you know, and stare at the sky and love God. But now we don't give a shit about God. In fact, if someone talks to God, we laugh at them. We say, oh, you schizo? Why are you talking about God? It's pretty dark. It's getting darker. So this is what this is all about. So please don't be fooled by this. Oh, let's, you know, get laws for the press. They can't harass these poor celebrities and stuff like that. Listen, if you're a celebrity, you're not poor. You're not a poor person. If you really think Prince Harry, God love him, is a victim, go and boil your head, okay? Go to a council estate, go to a prison, go and look at people in the street suffering. They are victims, okay? Prince Harry's not a victim, okay? He could disappear off the charts. He could not bother doing Netflix, not bother, you know, appearing or speaking, and bury himself. Keanu Reeves, nobody hears about him. he's decided to bury himself. You know, if you don't want to be famous, always, oh my God, I got papped. I don't like it. Well, come on. It's easy to get off the grid. These people don't want to. They just don't want, sometimes when they're going to the shop, to be papped. I'd rather, be primmed up. They don't want A, B, C, D, then they want D, E, F, G. Well, life isn't perfect. These people want their lives to be perfect. But they need to look around the planet and see, well, hang on, the rest of us having it perfect? But they're like, no, I want to live like a god. A god will have a perfect life. Well, we're not gods here. They need to have some humility when it comes to suffering and not make out that they're suffering when it's, being papped or whatever. It's not suffering. It's not. And it's real ungodly to say it is. It's not right, especially when this world is getting darker and darker and darker. When there's children. You walk around supermarkets and parents are snapping at their young children of 4 and 5. No, you can't have that. And they're under stress is why when it comes to money. These little children are they're in pain. So the children that come here are in pain. How can, Sienna Miller sit down and say to an interviewer, oh, they found out about a boyfriend I had. It really, put me in pain. Well, you're 40 years of age. Get over yourself. Have half a lager and wipe it off. You got a payout over that, and you're still moaning on the BBC about it. You're crying about it. Go and look at others that are really suffering and ask yourself, are you really upset, or are you getting into the drama of it? Because by getting into the drama of it, you're handing the enemy a lot of power. They're just going to use you like they're using Prince Harry to seal up the press and have the public say, it's a great thing, it's a good thing. Well, the next time there's a stabbing out in France, you won't be hearing about it because you've locked down the bloody press. So think about what you're doing, and don't think for one moment there's the good and the bad. There's just the cabal, okay? They put hand puppets on the hand and they go like that to the rest of us. Please, please, please don't believe what's going on. And please, please, please know that you can connect with spirit. It's there. It's waiting for you. It's really strong. It's amazing. Anytime you have a problem with a person, place, thing, problem in your life, you just go and ask spirit. Just connect with it. It's so easy. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. Thank you for listening.